Crossovers are one of the best additions to Brawlhalla. Not only is BeamNG able to create new content without necessarily adding new characters, but they can also generate hype and bring in audiences from other games, movies, or even TV shows, as we've seen with The Walking Dead, Hellboy, Adventure Time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and just a few days ago, G.I. Joe. There's probably one or two that I've missed, but you get the point.
I totally missed the other giant damn announcement, which is going to be the thing that's going to get me to actually try this game for the first time. Crazy enough, there was an announcement earlier today for a little game that no one's ever heard of called Brawlhalla. But today something somewhat substantial happened that is directly up my alley. Now I have to pay attention. Now suddenly I have to take a look.
It also probably makes them a good chunk of money too. I have a few crossovers myself, as you might have seen in other videos. I always love the trailers they make for crossovers as well. The animations are always incredibly well made. It kinda makes me wish BeamNG was as big as League of Legends or something, so they can make an animated series like Arcane. Seriously though, if any of you guys somehow see this, I would totally watch a Brawlhalla animated series. And I know for a fact that most of you would too. But even though crossovers are great and all, in-game, they can kind of be annoying to play against. If you didn't know, Brawlhalla's crossovers work differently than regular skins. Every skin in Brawlhalla changes the character and the weapons. However, crossover skins not only change those things, but they also reskin SIG animations, SIG sound effects, lock-in animations, and even the announcers' voices change. Of course that all comes with a bigger price tag, as long as you're willing to spend at least 100 more mammoth coins than regular skins. But there is a slight in-game advantage that you get that may not be as obvious. There are two main ways that I think crossovers can provide a slight advantage: visually and audibly. Let's start off with visuals. For example, Garnet, one of Petra's crossovers. Let's look at Petra's default downsig on Gauntlets. And now let's see Garnet's. Did you see it? Let's look again. As you can see on default Petra, the SIG animation has an effect showing the direction of Petra's movement, even though she isn't on screen. But on Garnet, there is literally no indication whatsoever, effectively making it just a fast teleport. Even Ryu's animation has this effect, but for some reason, Garnet doesn't. Val has the most crossovers in Brawlhalla, and on top of that, she has her own Battle Pass tier skin as well. And then there's Rayman, who gets a skin once every blue moon. I wonder if Rayman will get any crossover skins, cause technically he is a crossover himself. So that would kinda be like a crossover on top of a crossover? I don't know. But of course Val had to make it on this list. It would almost be impossible for her not to. Surprisingly, I don't really have an issue with most of Val's crossovers, but there is one. Stevonnie. More specifically, the side sig on Gauntlets. They have an interesting property. In Brawlhalla, there's a technique called slide cancelling. To perform a slide cancel, all you have to do is dash off of a ledge or a platform. But before you do, you input the move that you want to do. It causes your character to float in the air for a bit. You can do the same thing with signatures as well. However, since you can charge signatures, you can hold the slide for longer, which is why it's referred to as slide charging. You can also do reverse slide cancels or charges by changing your direction at the last second. This can be very useful for catching your opponent off guard when they're off stage. So what does this have to do with Stevonnie? Stevonnie's Gauntlet side sig goes invisible right before you see the two characters pop up. This is important because if you slide charge that sig, you can switch directions while you're invisible, forcing your opponent to guess if you reverse slide charged the sig or just did it normally. With a bit of matchup knowledge, you can figure out that whichever direction Steven is facing is the direction that the sig will come out. But the problem is the amount of time you have to figure that out solely relies on how long your opponent charges that sig. And when it's a last stock red situation, are you really going to guess right every time? Even the Akuma skin has a visual advantage, albeit not as noticeable as Stevonnie. Akuma's downsig on sword has a weird animation. I'll explain why. He spins in place while the effects around him are the actual hitbox, making the downsig look deceivingly smaller than it actually is. And now let's talk about the audio aspect. Audio is very important in video games. It can enhance visual effects and set the overall mood of the environment. And in fighting games like Brawlhalla, they are vital. When your opponent attacks you, not only do you need a visual cue, but an audio one as well. Studies show that you actually respond to audio cues faster than visual ones. The information from your ears reaches your brain faster than your eyes. The problem is that some crossovers in Brawlhalla have very quiet signatures. For example, one of the newest ones, Snake Eyes. Apart from the fact that Snake Eyes' sword signatures blend in with the clouds on Brawlhaven, and his grenades are slightly bigger than Thatch's cannonballs, his blaster's downsig doesn't make any sounds until the grenades explode. Compare this to Thatch's downsig and you can see there's a very big difference in audio. You can hear both of Thatch's balls come out of his blasters, but with Snake Eyes, you can't. You can see this with Pearl's side sig on Spear, and Amethyst neutral sig on Cannon. I think that sig probably is the quietest in the game. And also shout out to Nyx's Battle Pass skin. Even though it's not a crossover skin, the sigs are pretty quiet. And not just one or two of them, all of them are. Overall, are crossovers really that big of an issue? Of course not. I've only mentioned like less than 10% of them, and even then there's only like 1 or 2 sigs that I have a problem with for each character, but there is one crossover that I haven't talked about yet. The crossover that rules all crossovers. It is literally impossible for you to lose with the skin because it's invisible. How are you even supposed to defend against this when you can't see anything? Oh, and by the way, I have a Twitter account now, so that's kind of cool. Well, technically I had one for a while, but I'm gonna start using it now. Maybe you guys can send me like your best Brawlhalla memes or clips and I'll react to them in a video or on stream. And speaking of streams, I'll be live today at around 4 PM Eastern time, I believe. So yeah, come out and hang out with us. I'll probably be doing custom runes as always. But yeah, that could change. Maybe I'll be doing a tournament. I do plan on doing something like that, but I just haven't gotten the time to do it. I also probably would need some people to manage it as well. As always, make sure to join the Discord. It's the fastest way to get notified if I go live or if a video comes out. And if you want to become a member, you get access to cool emotes, badges, and depending on what tier you can get access to videos like this. Early access, I mean. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good day. Peace. New person to eat? You're gonna scare them away. He has a teleporting issue? Oh, okay. So it's internet, I'm guessing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I saw the opportunity and I took it. Okay, that's all. What just happened?